How do you describe the Monday Night Wars? The Yankees can't stand the Boston Red Sox. Well, in wrestling, we have WWE and WCW.
Hulkamania lives in World Championship Wrestling!
We just want to be as successful as Vince is. And then we'd like to, kick his butt.
He was there to try to put Vince out of business.
At one point, WCW was able to outshine WWE for an impressive 83 consecutive weeks.
I felt very competitive with him. It's like, hey man, these guys.
This is going entirely too far.
This sparked a fierce response from WWE, leading to an incredibly dynamic era in wrestling where everything had an edge.
Mike Tyson! Whoa, here we go!
You don't know what's going to happen next, and you don't want to miss it.
It was a legit rivalry and competition between two companies.
You want a war? You're gonna get one.
As a fan during this time, it was exhilarating. You were essentially getting the best of both worlds, taping Nitro on your VCR in one room while watching Raw live in another. This was necessary to keep up with the unfolding storylines, as missing even a moment could mean losing track of crucial developments. Both companies worked hard to deliver compelling content that respected and engaged their viewers. Television played a pivotal role in this evolution. While wrestling had previously been more regional, there was a clear shift towards national broadcasting.
Hello, everyone. This is Vince McMahon in the studios of the USA Cable Network. We wholeheartedly welcome you to the premiere of All American Wrestling.
Vince McMahon was at the forefront of this transformation, expanding WWE's reach.
Welcome to WrestleMania 3! And look at the Hulkster. What an unbelievable individual he is.
The wrestling landscape was changing, and Jim Crockett's eventual sale of his promotion to Ted Turner marked a significant turning point, the final showdown of the territories in the U.S.
I want to congratulate World Championship Wrestling for continuing the tradition of bringing action-packed wrestling excitement to TBS.
Initially, WCW was seen as a distant second to WWE, with few believing it could ever pose a real threat.
We just want to be as successful as Vince is. And then we'd like to, kick his butt.
However, when Monday Night Raw debuted on the USA Network in 1993, it revolutionized sports entertainment. The show introduced a live format that felt spontaneous and engaging, breaking away from the more scripted feel of previous programs.
It is uncut, uncensored, and uncut.
The live nature of it, the sort of anything can happen, quickness of it. There was a magic to that show, and the way it was presented, that sort of was a game changer.
Vince's focus on a younger roster during this time signaled a shift in strategy.
It just seemed like the perfect time for us to mutually part ways.
The tide began to turn when established stars from WWE started making their way to WCW.
I told ya, Hulkamania was gonna run wild in the WCW, brother. Look at all the Hulkamaniacs.
That was the first blow of now they're taking established stars from the WWE and bringing them into WCW. That's going to get them noticed.
This shift drew significant attention, particularly during WCW's first pay-per-view event, which garnered unprecedented interest. Fans began to take notice of what was happening across the aisle.
And then from there, it was Randy Savage.
Yeah! All these wrestlers that we used to watch growing up were now going to a different place of business to work for someone else that we never thought we'd see before.
Notably, Lex Luger, one of WWE's marquee performers, let his contract expire without alerting anyone at WWE. As WCW prepared for the launch of Nitro, Luger approached Eric Bischoff and revealed that he was free to join them, marking a pivotal moment in the rivalry.
As we're getting closer and closer to the debut of Nitro, Lex came to me and he said, look, my contract is up Sunday.
And I thought, whoa. Lex, it's Eric. I got an idea.
What in the hell is he doing here?
This era set the stage for intense competition and controversy that would shape the future of professional wrestling.
He had jumped ship. People are freaking out.
really helped set us up for great success because there was all the controversy.
Now we have the opportunity to really surprise people.
WCW seized a remarkable opportunity to catch fans off guard. The moment was a genuine surprise for wrestling enthusiasts.
How is this happening?
It was such a shocker to everyone. It was a big deal.
It worked magically, didn't it, Bruce Pritchard?
Damn, how did that happen?
It was an unexpected twist that resonated throughout the community, making waves in the industry.
Oh, what's going to happen next? And you don't want to miss it.
Okay, we're going to compete. Let's go. We're in a fight. Let's go fight.
Lex Luger's debut on Nitro played a crucial role in the show's early success, setting a precedent for what was to come. Here was a new program going head-to-head with Monday Night Raw, breaking new ground in ways no one had anticipated. At that time, Raw was broadcast live every other week, while Nitro went live weekly.
They were live every week, and they would often give spoilers as to what was going to happen on our tape shows.
In case you're tempted to grab the remote control, check out the competition. Don't bother. Shawn Michaels beat the big guy with a super kick he couldn't earn a green belt with in a local YMCA.
He wasn't there to do good business for himself. He was there to try to put Vince out of business. He was just trying to attack Vince McMahon. That's how I'm going to get recognized.
Look at her. And Alundra Blaze, once again, the WWF Women's Champion.
Another significant moment came when Alundra Blaze, whose WWE Women's Championship reign was never officially concluded, let her contract expire. Eric Bischoff quickly signed her, and she made a bold statement by bringing the championship belt to Nitro.
That indeed it is.
Trash can.
And that's what I think of the WWF Women's Championship belt.
In a shocking act, Alundra Blaze discarded the title in a trash can on air, sending a clear message to WWE that the competition was fierce. While competition can elevate the quality of wrestling, some of WCW's strategies crossed personal boundaries.
Oh, seat cover just got sucked up on that one in Connecticut.
Competition can be a double-edged sword, showcasing both the best and worst in promotion.
One thing that we had never done was acknowledge our competition. Don't acknowledge them. They don't exist. But we were in a fight. And there are no rules in a fight.
I built this company by doing one thing really well. Buying old assets and repackaging. Heck, I even bought old wrestlers.
The billionaire Ted skits were something we had to do. It was unorthodox.
Joining us tonight, the Huckster and the Nacho Man.
Vince McMahon's attempts at mockery backfired. Fans who were loyal to WWE and admired certain wrestlers felt offended by the jabs. This inadvertently drew attention to WCW, prompting viewers to tune in and see if their favorites were truly on the decline.
We're losing guys left and right, and our business is suffering.
We were what I would call the hot hand.
When I got there, business wasn't that great. I can remember very distinctly being in Pittsburgh in a half-full arena, standing at the curtain with Austin. Him saying, man, you think it'll ever be as big as it was like in the 80s?
I recall one particular show that attracted only about 500 fans, an alarming sign for WWE. Many top talents were lured away to WCW, which had opened its checkbook wide, enticing wrestlers with promises of minimal workload and significant pay.
There was more money being offered than had been offered before to guys.
Say hello to Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon and Diesel had been positioned as two of WWE's top emerging stars, but chose to pursue lucrative contracts with WCW.
You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
They're not saying they're Razor or Diesel. Razor's got the same haircut, he's got the toothpick, it's hey yo. And Diesel's, out there and doing Big Daddy cool stuff.
As an audience member, the perception was that we was launching an all-out invasion of WCW, creating an exhilarating atmosphere that made it impossible to turn away from Nitro.
So it seemed as if WWE was invading WCW.
It made it so you never wanted to turn the channel off Nitro.
The big man and the medium-sized man and our surprise buddy are gonna carve them up.
The suspense was palpable. What would unfold next? And who would join the ranks of the invasion led by Razor Ramon and Diesel, also known as Hall and Nash?
I want to confront you. I don't see three men here tonight. Where is your partner?
Chico, you know too much already. All you need to know, little man, is he's here and he's ready.
Eric Bischoff understood the significance of building anticipation around who's the third man.
Hulk Hogan is here! Hulk Hogan's here!
Hulk Hogan had been the quintessential hero since the early 80s, a role model for countless fans. However, WCW decided to pull off a shocking twist.
The white meat, babyface, good guy. This was the role model for your children. But the act had started to get stale with wrestling fans.
What is he doing? God! Is he the third man? He's the third man!
Then came the jaw-dropping moment when Hogan turned heel. It was unbelievable. Fans responded with trash thrown into the ring at their former hero.
You kidding me? And not only that, but literally have trash thrown at Hulk Hogan. Beloved Hulk Hogan.
The scene was chaotic, filled with debris, and I thought to myself, wow, they've really stirred up some heat.
As far as I'm concerned, all of this crap in the ring represents these fans out here. You fans can stick it, brother.
Hogan's infamous words, "All you fans can stick it, brother," marked a pivotal moment in wrestling lore.
This right here is the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother.
He's like, I'm bigger than WWE, and I'm gonna make this company bigger than you.
He declared his intention to elevate WCW beyond WWE. That spark ignited something extraordinary, and once it exploded, the NWO took command.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Well, you talk about the money, you talk about beating people up. Well, it's a new world order, and I hope it's okay, because there's nothing you can do about it.
The New World Order quickly became a cultural phenomenon in sports entertainment, embodying the anti-hero archetype that fans craved during that time.
Here's the NWO! Ready or not, here we come!
They were so captivating that they redefined the wrestling landscape. The audacity of spray painting the production truck was just one example of their rebellious spirit.
They were supposed to be the bad guys.
Oh no!
But they were too cool to be bad.
Everybody here just can't get enough of the NWO.
Fans were left eagerly anticipating who would join the NWO next.
I guess we're getting the official coronation of the newest member of the New World Order.
I remember Hogan saying, well, where'd you guys get that for life at? I said, it's at the beginning of Mac 10. All we did was just took all these different little culture things and kind of integrated them and then just ran with it.
Love this.
Once the NWO made their entrance, they gained unstoppable momentum, leaving Monday Night Raw in their wake. For 83 consecutive weeks,
NWO for life, brah.
WCW beat us for 83 weeks straight.
WCW outperformed WWE, largely due to the NWO's allure. They effectively targeted the 18 to 34-year-old male demographic, and everything they touched seemed to resonate. Meanwhile, WWE's mid-90s product felt more like a cartoon aimed at younger audiences, far from what wrestling fans truly desired.
It was aimed at young people.
Is it the whoopee cushion? Certainly was.
Wrestling fans around the world, that's just not what they wanted.
WWE struggled to sell tickets while WCW thrived. Despite WWE's reputation as innovators, they found themselves on the losing end during this period. True WWE loyalists felt torn. They had their allegiances, but couldn't help but be captivated by what WCW was offering.
I remember one time we were flying back from Nitro. It was Hulk, me, Scott, Eric, Randy. All of us have worked for Vince. We were all drinking and laughing, and Bischoff said, I'm going to put him out of business. It's just like, and Hogan's the first one. Hogan goes, you'll never put that man out of business.
With top talents making the switch to WCW, the landscape shifted dramatically. WWE had to rebuild from what remained. When they finally committed to change, there was no looking back.
We really made the change and dove in head first. There was no turning back.
We are the Generation X. You make the rules, and we will break them. Yeah.
Shawn Michaels and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who began pushing boundaries with their provocative gestures, leading to the birth of D-Generation X.
Took on a life of its own. You're not going to tell us what to do. You're not going to tell us what we can say. You're not going to tell us how to dress. We're going to tell you to suck it.
Shawn and I both got jumbo weenie.
Yeah.
Product needed to change and be more realistic. Hence the birth of the Attitude Era.
We're going to push it. We're going to walk to the line, may step over it, and we're going to try and move that line a little bit as well.
Wait a minute, this is going entirely too far.
The Attitude Era marked a significant transition toward a more edgy and daring program. It was an unparalleled time in wrestling history.
It was such a unique time in the business.
And there was one man in particular who was responsible for ushering in the Attitude Era, and that man was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Steve Austin does what he wants, when he wants, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Austin brought unmatched entertainment value and left a lasting impact on the industry.
The only thing that I'll deliver is a big can of whoop ass right to your front door.
Austin is entertaining as hell. He's impactful.
His unique persona raised the bar and shifted the entire narrative.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
I knew that we were in competition with WCW, and I felt very competitive with them. It's like, hey man, these guys.
As Monday Night Raw began to adopt a sharper edge, WCW took notice, though they weren't overly worried, until the arrival of Mike Tyson.
Iron Mike Tyson!
Mike Tyson was at the time one of the biggest celebrities on the face of the planet, and certainly the baddest man on the face of the planet.
Mike Tyson in a WWF ring. This is big, ladies and gentlemen.
Tyson brought a significant influx of attention from the boxing world and mainstream media to WWE, drawing eyes from all corners of the globe.
Mike Tyson is standing in Stone Cold's ring.
The moment Mike Tyson faced off against Stone Cold Steve Austin was electrifying and captured everyone's interest.
I respect what you've done in the boxing world, but Jesus, son, when you step in this ring, you're messing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's something you don't do.
Whoa! Whoa, here we go! Here we go! Tyson and Austin! Tyson and Austin! Oh, hell, let's go!
That was the first time that I knew we were in for a real fight.
Vince McMahon quickly recognized that Raw's viewership was declining compared to its previous numbers, so what did he do? He enlisted the biggest name in pay-per-view, Mike Tyson.
Wrestling Federation title at stake, and the enforcer, the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson. Austin, he got it! The stagger! Mike Tyson in! Austin is the champion! The Austin era has begun!
The storyline involving Tyson and Austin was crafted so convincingly that it not only propelled Austin into stardom, but also established the Mr. McMahon character in a credible light.
Nobody, especially Vince McMahon, tells Stone Cold Steve Austin what to do, and that's the bottom line.
Suddenly, the narrative shifted from just wrestling to a compelling story about an employee clashing with his boss.
McMahon 316 says I just pissed my pants. If you want to see Austin McMahon, give me a hell yeah.
This dynamic drew in viewers. The rivalry between Austin and McMahon was pivotal in turning the tide for WWE.
I can't believe what we're about to witness.
WWE began to reclaim its ratings dominance. As the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. While WCW had been riding high, WWE was now on the ascent.
My friends would come over, and so we would just be like flipping back and forth, flipping back and forth.
I mean, arenas are full. Everybody's household names.
Sting is heavyweight champion of the world.
Greatest time, I think, in the history of wrestling.
This era marked an intense showdown between two colossal companies, expanding the wrestling audience like never before. Millions tuned in every week.
The mailman Carl Malone teaming with Diamond Dallas Page against the tandem of Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman. Jay Leno in command. Bullseye!
While the NWO had its moment of coolness, it was Austin and DX that revitalized WWE's image, prompting WCW to seek their own countermeasure.
Who was their answer? Goldberg.
Who dominated opponents with sheer force.
73-0. The first undefeated man to ever win the World Championship.
It was perfect.
Who's he think he is, Dick Clark?
The rivalry between WCW and WWE reached new heights during this period, and both promotions took jabs at each other live on air.
Me and you, McMahon, in the ring.
You didn't see the Red Sox or the Yankees doing that.
It really was a legit rivalry.
WCW is now going in and actively going in and trying to hurt business.
They would schedule events in venues where WWE had already made plans, often shifting their shows to nearby locations. Ideas were floated about staging live events in their parking lot to grab attention.
Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, hey!
The concept of DX showing up outside WCW's arena while their show was ongoing was unprecedented. It was a jaw-dropping moment.
WCW is a bunch of cowards!
Someone came to your house trying to fight. You closed the drapes.
They closed that door because Scott and I were trying to get out that door.
We're thinking, boy, it's about to go down. Something's about to go down. We don't know what it is, but we're going to be a part of it. That's how crazy it was. And then nothing. Nothing.
I recall Bruce Pritchard suggesting that if WCW sent their wrestlers over to retaliate,
They think back to us and they just shoot it and they put it in the show next week. And what do we do? And Vince was like, open up the garage doors, let them in. What show are you going to watch? The one with all the wrestlers or the one with none of the wrestlers? Let them go right to the ring. They drive straight out there to the ring, and then we'll all come out. That's the best, this is the greatest TV ever. And I remember thinking at that moment, like, this is why we're going to win. Like, that's genius.
there's nothing quite like an intense rivalry. It wasn't just the creative clashes among the characters in the ring. It was a full-blown competition between two companies. Eric proposed to Giovanni that he should reveal the outcome of Monday Night Raw and downplay its significance.
You're even thinking about changing the channel to our competition. Fans do not understand that Mick Foley is going to win their world title. It's going to put some butts in the seat.
They're taped, and here's what happens. And so you might as well stick around here. That was the idea. And it worked very, very well, all the way up until the night I tried it with The Rock and Mick Foley. Because a lot of my audience went, oh, really? Rock, Mick Foley? I'm going to go check that out.
So Rock against Mankind, and the odds are stacked against Mick Foley.
As a result, 500,000 to 600,000 viewers switched channels in an instant. Foley was incredibly popular, and this strategy backfired on Nitro. Sometimes plans work brilliantly, and other times they fall flat. Unfortunately for WCW, that instance was a failure.
Steve was such a megastar, and Rock was such a megastar. You watched the landscape of sports entertainment at that time. From the minute that show started, everybody was a star. Every Monday was Woodstock.
Yeah, look at that! Leapfrog the ladder, for God's sakes! Triple H has realized his dream!
For the first time in nearly 2 to 3 years, WCW found themselves playing catch-up. Initially, it seemed like WWE talent was leaving for WCW, but when the tide turned and wrestlers began jumping back to WWE, it was thrilling for fans. When Jericho's music hit, I was ecstatic. That moment was painful.
That one stung. When you start losing key talent at the same time you're losing ground competitively, kind of a double whammy.
I fell out of WWF for about a year solid now. I just got back in. I think it's the best thing in sports entertainment.
Fans began to recognize just how much was happening on Monday Night Raw. Once they switched channels, many didn't return.
WCW sucks! WWF, #1, WCW sucks!
WWE has always greatly benefited by having one genius in charge of everything. In WCW, they were part of a much larger corporation, which was Time Warner.
We are very excited about joining forces with Time Warner because we share a common vision for the future.
The merger of AOL and Time Warner with Turner led to significant upheaval within Turner Broadcasting. Many within Turner wanted to replace WCW's primetime slot on TNT with movies, viewing wrestling with disdain, except for Tat, who found himself sidelined in a back office with no influence. At that point, WCW was in disarray. The executives at AOL Time Warner weren't fans of wrestling and sought to offload the WCW brand. WWE stepped in with an offer to acquire specific assets.
It was, look, we're going to buy certain assets, we'll buy the library, we'll take a look at your contracts. If there's any contracts we may want to pick up, we'll pick up some of them. We had a real cash offer on the table that could be done like that, and they took it.
Many of you may already know that WCW has new owners.
We were in disbelief. A company was going out of business. Ultimately, it became clear that WWE had emerged victorious, and we chose to stick with them through thick and thin. The fans weren't directly involved in the rivalry. We were simply enjoying the content being presented. It wasn't about celebrating WWE's victory. Rather, it felt like losing one more option for viewing entertainment. The entire situation was complex, especially with Vince at the helm.
Imagine that. Me, Vince McMahon. Here I am on WCW television. How can that happen?
Rivalry between networks meant that WWE was airing their shows simultaneously.
You see, it was just a matter of time before I, Vince McMahon, bought my competition. That's right. I own WCW.
With the conclusion of the Monday Night Wars, Strong's dedication prevailed. Time Warner had no vested interest. They were eager to divest themselves of wrestling.
Winner of the Monday Night Wars, ladies and gentlemen, Vincent K. McMahon.
The audience, Strong's passion won out. Time Warner had no skin in the game. They didn't care. They hated the property and wanted to get rid of it. We loved our property. We love what we do. And that was the difference.
Shane McMahon is on Nitro.
The choice was made for Shane to confront Vince with the shocking news that he had acquired WCW.
The storyline was my brother against my dad. In reality, it was the moment that we knew WCW was done.
You have to grab your competition by the throat, and you've got to squeeze the life out of your competition. Just like I did to WCW.
Ultimately, WWE decisively triumphed over WCW, emerging victorious in the battle.
The landscape of our industry is changing.
As a fan, coming to terms with the reality that Monday Night Wrestling would never feel the same again was quite difficult. The fierce competition between WCW and WWE during the Monday Night Wars fundamentally transformed the wrestling landscape.
That was a great time for television. It was hot.
With two top-rated shows competing on separate networks, the clash between WCW and WWE was genuine and captivating. Audiences were drawn to the excitement. It was a perfect storm of timing and rivalry between two powerhouse companies. This legendary conflict continues to be a topic of discussion even today. The intensity of the competition left an unforgettable mark on the history of wrestling, and no one who lived through that era could ever forget it.